Assalamu alaikum. We are now going to discuss the topic that is coordination and control, and a subtopic is homeostasis. Okay, homeostasis. What is actually the homeostasis? Homeo means internal, okay, and stasis means to keep something constant or stable. Internal, something stable. It means that something which is constant internally, this is a literal meaning of the homeostasis. What is the meaning in biology, homeostasis, when we are studying it? You know, my body is everything in the human body is has a certain set point, right? Every system or a metabolism or any internal environment, I would say. What is the internal environment of the human body or animal body? What is the internal environment? Like the temperature, the pH, the amount of water, the amount of the chemicals, right? This makes my internal environment. How my organs are working, how they are interacting. This is the internal environment. So you need to keep your internal environment maintained, right? What is maintenance? To keep it constant, to keep it stabilized, right? So it means that my body or a human body has some stabilized maintenance uh, internally. It's being stabilized. The factors in my body is stabilized. Like, for example, temperature is stabilized at 37. If I talk about human, the pH of the blood is stabilized 7.2. There's a certain level of water in my body which is stabilized. There's a certain level of of the sugar level, the blood glucose concentration is at a certain level. It's stabilized. What if it changes? Don't you think it's going to change my internal environment as well? Yes. So this is homeostasis. How my body is maintaining my internal environment. This is known as homeostasis. Now let's go about this. What are the main important points you need to remember in this chapter? There are three subtopics. Number one is homeostasis, the definition of the homeostasis. Number two, there's a mechanism that how we maintain it. Like, um, if I'm saying something that if I'm saying that you need to maintain this thing, so what precautions or what procedure you will take to keep that thing particularly maintained? Like you are, if I give you a book and ask you to maintain this book, right? What you would do? You will keep that book away from the dirt. You will put it in a plastic bag. You will put it in a upper higher area so no one can touch that book. You are doing some precautions or taking some procedure to keep that book maintained, right? Similarly, there is some mechanism in my body who is monitoring the homeostasis. If something is changed in my body, it's maintaining, na? My body temperature is 37, not all the time. But if it fluctuates, it's going to damage my certain parts. Like my enzymes are going to be affected due to temperature change. My hormones are going to be affected due to the temperature change. They are made up of proteins. I need to keep my body environment maintained. So there's a certain procedure to keep it maintained, right? So that is known as feedback, negative feedback. Okay. Okay, now there are two examples of the homeostasis. Number one is temperature control, in which you will discuss about the skin. Means you have to identify on a diagram the certain part of the skin, that is hair erector muscles, sweat glands, receptors, sensory neurons, blood vessels, and the fatty tissues, and how my skin helps in the role of insulation to maintain the constant internal body temperature. and how the hypothalamus is helping in controlling the body temperature, and what processes occur in controlling the body temperature, like for example sweating, shivering, and how the skin parts which you have seen here is going to be affected due to the temperature, how they respond towards it. Okay. Like contraction of the hair erector muscle or the vasodilation, vasoconstriction of the arteries supplying the skin surface capillaries. Another example in homeostasis is the blood glucose control, which we have already covered in the hormone part. But here we will understand that blood glucose control in with the reference of negative feedback. Okay. Now, first part is about the definition of homeostasis and the negative feedback. What is homeostasis? It is defined as the maintenance of the constant internal environment. Like we have just discussed that what is internal environment, my temperature, my pH, my pressure of the blood, my heart rate, my breathing rate, these are all making my internal environment, amount of oxygen, amount of carbon dioxide, amount of the certain chemicals present, these are all making my internal environment. Okay, they need to be maintained, so it is kept constant. That is homeostasis. Like need for the homeostasis. Why is the need of homeostasis? Changes in the body temperature may result in enzyme inactivation, denaturation. Any drastic change in our blood and the surrounding tissues fluid will affect chemical reactions in the tissue cells and will harm the body. Right? Cells must be bathed in tissue fluid so the correct pH and water potential enzymes reaction will be affected. If we talk from the point of view of water potential in the human body, if water is too high, it may affect my red blood cells. Right? If the water is too low, it's still going to affect my red blood cells. If there's something wrong with my red blood cell, if the composition of the solution in the red blood cell is not correct, maybe it will burst or it may shrink. They will not be able, we can lose the hemoglobin, and if we lose the hemoglobin it means that there will be the deficiency of oxygen in my body. I can go towards anemia. See how they are all related to each other. This is why the homeostasis is very important mechanism to keep my body functioning well. Okay, now how we can achieve this homeostasis? There's a mechanism that is known as negative feedback. Now, what is negative feedback? For example, I have given you a question and asked you to solve it. It's a 3-mark question. And when you have given me your notebook, I have seen that you have used the correct terminologies, the correct key terms, the sentence formation is correct, the sequence of the event is correct, everything is in a proper organized manner. I would give you the full marks and I will give you some appreciative feedback, right? So this is a positive feedback. What you would do now? You will move towards the next question, or you will linger on the same question. You obviously you will move towards the next question because you have done that work correctly. There's no problem occurred in that one. This is known as positive feedback. Means you're enhancing, you're promoting in a forward manner, right? You are enhancing in a forward manner. However, there's another student who gave me his notebook, and when I checked the question, the terminologies weren't correct. The sentence formation was not proper. There was no alignment of the sequence of the event properly. Is there a mistake in his work? Yes, it does. What would I would give him a feedback that please rewrite the answer, use the correct terminologies, work on your sentence formation, and use the proper sequence of the events, right? What I'm doing now, I want to do that correction. I want him to do the correction of the question, of that answer. So what he would do now, he will go back to the question, he will see his mistake, and he will correct it. So this is known as, rather than Jumping towards the next question, first of all, he has to fix that thing where there was a problem in his question. He cannot move forward. He has to stay there until he fixes it. This is known as negative feedback. Negative feedback doesn't mean that it's something which is effective in a negative way. Negative feedback means you did something, some mishap or some mistake happened, you went back, you found out, you pointed out the mistake, you corrected the mistake, and then you move forward. This is known as negative feedback. So this negative feedback also occurs in the human body, right? There's a set point. This is known as set point. Set point means you have a proper amount of blood glucose in your body, a temperature and the pH and the volume or the pressure of the blood, a heart rate, breathing rate, amount of oxygen, right? The certain these are the chemicals which have a stable amount, right? This is known as set point. If set point is triggered, either it fluctuates, either it has increased from the set point or it has decreased from the set point. It needs to be corrected. It needs to be fixed. Okay, this is known as negative feedback. So, internal environment of our bodies must have certain conditions within tolerable limits to continue the healthy functioning. And it is kept constant by, or it is being maintained or monitored by a mechanism known as negative feedback. Okay, like used to control the blood glucose concentration, it also controls the water concentration and the temperature of the blood. These are the major examples. Now, there are four steps by which this negative feedback mechanism occurs. Number one, stimulus. Of course, something will change your set point. Like, for example, temperature. My body temperature is 37. Okay. It's winter time. And outside the environment, outside my body, the winter, environment is like 18 degree or maybe 11 degree or maybe 9 degree centigrade, right? It is going to affect my body temperature as well, because this will, I will receive this message. For example, my skin is exposed towards the environment, so it's going to receive the message that yes, outside my body the temperature is lower. It will so it will receive this message. My body would know when there's a sensation of change in temperature, the body temperature will drop from 37. The if my body temperature is going lower than the 37, is it good for my body? No, it will affect my chemical reactions, it will affect my metabolism. Now my body needs to bring back that temperature to the 37, right? So stimulus was the temperature. Okay, my skin was a receptor because it received the message, and there will be some mechanism occur which will fix that mistake or fix that fluctuation which has occurred. That is known as self-regulatory corrective mechanism. When it is fixed, my body temperature went back to its set point. Now I have achieved the negative feedback. Through the negative feedback, by going towards to these four steps, I have controlled my temperature. What was it? Number one was stimulus. Then something in my body will receive that stimulus receptor, and then after receiving this message, it will be corrected, a self-regulatory corrective mechanism, and eventually the negative feedback has been achieved. A negative feedback mechanism has been um, achieved. All right. Okay. You can see in this flow chart as well, normal condition, stimulus increases, receptor detect, corrective mechanism, condition decrease back to the normal temperature. Or the condition rises, increases. What if it decreases? The receptor detects it, corrective mechanism, and the condition rises back to the normal conditions. This is the homeostasis, and homeostasis is achieved by or monitored by negative feedback control. And there are some organs which are involved in the homeostasis. For example, the skin, which regulate the temperature, kidneys, which regulate the water concentration, lungs. It helps out to remove carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide makes the blood more acidic. We need to control the pH, so we also need to monitor, the body needs to monitor the amount of oxygen and the carbon dioxide. So this is also one way of keeping the blood pH maintained. And the pancreas, it's controlling the blood glucose concentration. Okay.